Well, hello, and welcome to my first group, although there's no group. My first session of my Grow Your Mindset. What we're going to be doing throughout the 9 sessions is essentially being able to take you through the steps that I use with my clients to help you people grow, to help your mindset grow, and to take you throughout the different stages bit by bit and making it as simple as possible. What we're going to be doing is adapting all the kind of tricks, tips, and my training methods that I've used over the years, and I'm giving it away for free. Simple reason being is, why not? I've got all these tips, I've got all this knowledge, and I've been doing it for ages, and I think it's just a really good opportunity now where the mindset and the positive mindset in people are really, really low. So I'm doing this workshop. It will be recorded, which means that anybody who signs up to the recording sessions, if you can't make the time, it doesn't matter, because what I'm going to do is I record it and then I send it out to you. What I will be doing though, which is a really important bit, is I'm taking people's questions. I want to be able to answer your questions and help you out individually. So what I'm going to do at the end of these sessions is do essentially a Q&A. If you can't make these sessions, then please forward your question to me and I'll make sure that I answer them as best as I can. For anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Bruno, Coach Bruno, and I'm a fat loss specialist and a mindset mentor. I've also just become an author of my mindset book, Unlock Your True Potential. What I'm here to do is to try and help as many people as I can to live a positive and healthy life. And with that in mind, I'm going to crack on and start with the very first session of Grow Your Mindset. So what we're going to do is, by starting it off, like I start off with everyone, I go straight in for the kill. I do not hold any punches. So if you feel this seems like it's a little bit full on, remember this is for everyone. So I do not go too much into the scientific aspect of it all, because I like to keep things simple. But like I said, I do not hold any punches. So you will hear a lot throughout these 9 sessions that I will be saying that it's you accountable. It's you to blame. It's you that need to do the work. Because at the end of the day, if you want to adapt, if you want to grow your mindset, it is always you that needs to do it. And I say that because I am a coach. I can help you. I can give you information. I can tell you bits and pieces. I can give you tips. I can show you stuff that's worked in the past. But at the end of the day, if you do not adapt, if you're not willing to change, you will not change and you will stay the same as you are. And this is where those punches will not be held back. So first thing that I do with everyone is give you the very first step. And that is to just basically figure out where you are. And now a lot of people will be thinking, right, straight away we need to go into some sort of mindset game or anything like that. No, nothing at all. The very first step is understanding exactly where you are today. Doesn't matter where you were last week, 2 years. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people are living in their past. A lot of people are living in their future, but they're not currently right here, right now. There's so many people that are living in their negative past of things that happened to them, and they're still holding that kind of that grudge or those emotions. And that's, and it's a really hard thing to change. But if you're living in the past, how are you expect to improve today and expect to improve the future? So what we kind of need to do is bring you back into today. Forget about everything that's happened in the past, kind of forget about for the moment what you want to do, and just figure out where you are today. What's life really like? What do you actually have? What do you actually need? All these little kind of aspects to bring you back into today. And it's very, very important. And before we go anywhere, we need to make sure we know exactly where we stand. Now, but everybody's background is completely different. And this is the reason why I bring everyone back into the present. Because you could be a multi-millionaire and be standing next to me, or you could be completely broke and stand next to me. You could be completely healthy standing next to me, and you could be completely unwell. But irrelevant of how we're going forward, We must make sure that we are all standing exactly in the present right now. We must make sure that we stay right here in the present day. Okay? And the reason I do that is because in our next couple of meetings and our next sessions, what you will find is that we will be talking about the past, all the kind of negatives, all the kind of positives, and we are going to use them as our motivation, as our drive. But at the moment, what I want to do is focus on you lot coming back into date. And what we do is, and the way I do it, you can do a lot of scientific terms. I don't. So I use a line in the sand. It's a very visual aspect. Me, the way that I train, the way that I use tips and knowledge is I'm very visual. I want people to see what they're talking about. If you can visualize it, the mind can mold much easier. If I just give you a load of scientific terms, your mind can't visualize it, and it's very hard for you to compress it. It's very hard for you to take that information in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into nice, simple terms. So when you walk away from these sessions, you can adapt really quickly. You already know while I'm talking, these seeds have been entered into your head. So now what we're going to do is draw that line. It doesn't matter. And to be honest, it's a perfect day for it because it's March the 1st. It's a new month, a new opportunity for us to go, yes, let's start afresh. So what we're going to do is draw that line and we're going to bring ourselves in the present. Now, there's certain aspects of what we need to see now we're standing here. Because if you're one of these people that live in the past, or you're one of these people that live in the future, you are going to be two very different types of people. The people that live in the past are normally things that have happened negative, or things were so good, but they just can't get their head around that things aren't that good anymore. Or things are that bad years ago, but they just can't let that emotion go, which means they're still living on, still holding on to that past. Or you have the people that are living in the future, thinking about, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to be this, but not actually doing anything today. So chasing something that they're never going to achieve. And this is why it's so important that we stop, literally stop. Forget about the future, forget about the past, draw that line in the sand and bring you right into today. Now, what I really want you lot to do, if you haven't got one already, is grab yourself a pen and paper. I want you to take notes. Now, even though these are recorded, the notes are very important. The notes are for you, okay? It's so important that we have these lists. These lists that you, when you read them, you can visualize it. And it's what we're going to do on these lists is actually write down. Now, of course, I'm not actually interested in negative things you have in life. They are there. We know they're there. Everybody has negative points in their life, but it doesn't matter. What we're going to focus on is the positives. What do you have that is positive in your life today? What can you look around and think to yourself, well, I've got my health, I've got a roof over my head, I've got this, I've got that. Now, obviously, I don't want to give it too much away because I'm giving some hints, but really think about the positives of what you have today. What do we have to essentially build our foundations on? What do we have that's positive so we can start moving forward? And this is very important as well. This is to build everything that we're doing now, literally stopping, is we're stripping back everything back down to the foundations. I'm going to regrow you right from the bottom. Because sometimes a lot of people won't strip you back. They'll just try and give you tips and they'll try and help you a little bit. But the actual problems, the actual bit in the middle is where we need to get into. And that's why we need to make sure that we strip it all back, get you to current day and go, right, this is where we stand. This is where we start. Everybody, it doesn't matter who we have, who sees this recording, who watches these sessions, who comes and joins me throughout these 9 sessions. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter where you've been. And it doesn't matter what you're planning to do in the future. We are all standing and going to start afresh from today. Now, this is really, really good. And this list, You can do afterwards, you can do it during while I'm talking, and you can be able to just start thinking about, give yourself some time. There's no rush. You know, our next session is going to be Friday, which means we have plenty of time for you to figure out, what do you actually have good? What are you grateful for? What do you appreciate right now? And this is the important bit, because as we move forward, we're going to do two things. We're going to do everything in small steps. I could quite easily get you to go from A to Z. I could make you jump from A to C. I could make you try to sprint from one distance to another. The difference is with that is that if you try to jump, you may miss. You may miss an opportunity between. You may miss chances of doing it correctly. And then you have to go back and do it again. Now, don't get me wrong, we will fail. Failing is part of being successful. Failing is part of growing. But what we must make sure we do is we do everything in small steps. Why? Because we're all different. We all have our own speeds. We're all capable of doing things. We're all capable of being better, but at our own speeds. So I want you to do it at your own pace. And we do that by slowing it right down, one step at a time. So when you move forward to your next step, you know it's only a little one. There's no fear. And fear will come into this. Fear comes in a bit later on, because fear is one of those things where I don't go around it, I go straight through it. And this is what we're going to learn how to overcome fear, but not right now. Doing little things in small steps is super important, because what we want to be able to do is knowing that that step is just there in front of us. It's a very simple step to do, just one leg in front of the other. And then the step next after that will be another small step. And breaking whatever you want to do in life into small steps will make things very achievable visually. Now, you can have a massive goal, a massive dream. You could change so many different things you want in life. But if you think of it as a massive one-off, in 5 years' time, I want to have a £1 million business, but you do have no small steps to get to there, you will not have a business in 5 years time, let alone a business that brings you an income of £1 million. Okay, your dream may be just to be able to walk 5 kilometers, but if you don't put those steps in, or take a very small step at the beginning and just try and run 5K, you'll probably fail and you probably won't want to do it again. So the important bit is to visualize that everything is done in small steps moving forward. The other thing that's very important, and it's kind of step 2 essentially of our initial moving forward, is adapting. Now, this is where most people will fail before they've even started. It's because they're not willing to adapt. Now, the one thing that probably has taught a lot of people in 2020 and 2021 is that some people do not have the opportunity or have the chance to learn how to adapt to things. When COVID came in, we had to all learn the hard way. We were just told that's how life's going to be, and we had to deal with it. Some people dealt with it, adapted really well, and are still able to adapt with it really well. There are people out there that are struggling, and that's because they're not sure how to adapt, or they don't know what to adapt to. And this is why when people try to change their life, try to change their mindset, or anything really in their life, they fail before they started because they don't know how to adapt. Now, most of the time, people are not willing to adapt. Okay, there's 2 factors when it comes to adapt. You either know how to do it and are willing to do it. Now, willing to adapt is actually a lot harder than how it sounds. It's because you have to let your guard down and change who you are. You have to understand that what is going to happen next is out of your comfort zone. Adapting and changing means that you are no longer going to be going down the same path that you've been going down for the last year, last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Some people have never changed their past. They're just quite happy going through life, going through what it is, and that's how it is. But if you really want to change, if you really want to grow your mindset and be better for whatever the outcome is, and when I mean outcome, I mean whatever you want to achieve. Everyone is different. We all have our own goals. I stand here with completely different goals to maybe the people that are watching this. I have completely different goals to my partner. I have completely different goals to my brother and sister. I have completely different goals to my clients. Everybody is different. And this is why when you watch this, whatever you do it for you. You are going to be the reason why you achieve these, not me. Like I said, I am not going to hold any punches. I can stand here until I'm blue in the face and give you all the information that I possibly can. But if you're not willing to adapt, if you're not willing to change, if you're not willing to put the work in, you will achieve and change nothing. And this is where sometimes I just can't help people. You may have had it in the past where you've tried to help someone and you've realized that you just, doesn't matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, it just doesn't go in. And it doesn't go into here because they're not willing to allow things in. They're not willing to change. And this is why when we take that first small step forward, we must go with the mentality that we are willing to change, that we are willing to adapt to something new. Because normally, when you take a shift in your mindset because you decided that you want to be better, you are shifting your whole path of life. People don't realize that. People just think, I just want to be more positive. Well, that's great. You want to be more happier. That's great. But if you're surrounded by negative people, that means the first thing I'm going to say to you is you need to get rid of those negative people, which means your path has just taken a massive shift. You do not like the job that you're in. I'm going to tell you to leave. If you're not happy in where you live, I'm going to tell you to leave that place and find somewhere new. This is where the whole aspect of people adapting, they don't always do it. It's really hard to live a life that you really want, a life that you're destined to have. But, and I say this with a massive but, we all can do it. And this is the biggest factor that I say to everyone. We all have the inner strength to do it. All you've got to do is be willing to change. Now, I know that there's people out there that I help, and I know that they've changed and they've adapted and they've done really well. There's some people that have tried to change and they're just not willing to adapt. And that is something that I cannot help them with. And that's why I said right from the beginning, if you really want to change, it is you that needs to do the work. It is you that are willing to change. Okay? So we have the beginning step. We have that ability to change. We got it in us. Okay? So here we are. We're in present day. You are going to be writing a list of stuff that you're grateful for. Forget the past. And this is where right now, you need to put the kind of some blockers on now. Okay? Get those mindset, blocking out the negative, the positives that you may have done. Whatever you are right now, you are at a moment where you are literally in a fork on a road. And I want you to visualize this as much as you can. You've got opportunities now. Opportunities are going to be whatever path you choose, you will have opportunities. Now, the fact of the matter is, when you're kind of not really growing your mind, when you're not really open up to new things, you will miss the opportunities along the path. What we're going to do is we're going to open up, make a decision, and decide that we're going to change. We are going to grow our mindset. Now, the great thing about it is, if you're watching this or you're here today, you've already made your first step. And the thing is, people don't even realize the first step, people say the hardest, and I agree, it's the hardest. because you have to come forward and go, I'm willing to change. I want to change. I'm going to go and do that. And you guys are here. So if you're watching this, if you're sitting down and writing those lists, you don't actually realize that you've already made your first step, which means you've already decided that you want to take your journey down a different route. You want life to be better. It may be something very small. I'm not saying that your life is very negative. What I'm saying is that there may be something in life you just want to improve. Some people want a whole shift. They want their whole life to change, and that takes time. But if you're here already, you've already made that first step. So it's a big well done if you're here today, or if you're watching this video, because you've already completed stage 1. So stage 2 is about letting ourselves be better. Okay? Now, these sessions that I'm going to be doing are essentially grouped. Okay? There's 9 sessions. I'm going to give you as much information, as much punch as I can. So when you leave these sessions, you feel better. You feel that you want to change. Okay? So now we're going to go into leave, and we're going to leave this session, and we're going to go, right, okay, that's great. But what are you actually going to change? And this is probably the biggest question that you could possibly ask yourself if you seriously think about it. Because not many people know what they're willing to change. If you do, you will normally have a section of your life that you're willing to change. But the moment you start to really look at it, it can be like a can of worms. Like, for example, when you are negative and you go, I just want to be positive, and you start to look at why you're negative. And then you realize that the reason you're negative is because the people that you live with, or the place that you work, or something like this. You know, when things like that open up a can of worms, you then realize, actually, now I know what I need to change, but it's a massive change in my life. I have to change my job because it's my job that makes me negative. And this is why we must keep it small steps. Okay? So what we're going to do is kind of break it down. So when we go into our next session, you are prepared. Because what I want to do is I want to answer as many personal questions from you lot as possible. I want this group sessions to be as personal as I can, which means the more questions you have from me, the more answers I can help you personally with your own journeys. Okay? But what I'm going to do is break it down into sections. Okay? So we started nice and small. We're willing to change because you're here. Okay? But now what? Now what? Well, now we've already kind of made the decision that we're willing to change. Now, that fork that we're essentially on the road, this is the important bit. Okay? But I want to make something very, very clear. The fork in the road is not the only fork in the road that you will ever come to. Do not make this a massive decision. Do not put pressure on yourself that it won't let you sleep at night. Things constantly change. And to be honest, look at us now. We are sitting at 2021 and no one expected us to be able to live a life like we're living. We've been told to be stuck indoors. We're human beings. We should be able to go out and do things that we want to do, but we're not. So things do happen and forks do come along. And this is the reason why what we want to make sure that you understand is that do not put pressure on yourself in making a decision. Because sometimes you will make a decision and it will be wrong. I do it all the time. And I'm quite happy to put my hand up because I try. And that's the difference. I don't know that everything that I put my mind to will work. There's plans that I put in place for my business, for my personal life. I try them and they just don't work because I try. But it doesn't mean that I just stop. You see, when you really, really fail is when you give up, when you stop altogether. And this is where we must understand that there's no pressure. If I make a decision on what I'm going to do next, there's not that kind of pressure where I'm going, well, what if it work? Will it work? No. Don't do that to yourself. You want to enjoy the journey. If you suddenly walk down a new path, going down a new direction, and suddenly you realize that actually this direction isn't right for me, well, guess what? You can change it just like you did. And be prepared to kind of trip up along the way. And the reason I say these things is because these are not negatives. You must prepare for those negative days. It doesn't matter how positive you are, how great of a planner you are in business, in personal life, in fitness, it doesn't make no difference. You are going to trip up along the way. If anybody you meet in life has ever told you that they've never failed, they've never tripped up, then they have never really tried. Because anybody who is honest, that has tried to succeed in business, has tried to succeed in some sort of challenge in fitness, or in personal life, tried to achieve something really, really good, they would be honest and they would turn around to you and said, well, that didn't work. I tried that and that didn't work, but then I changed it around. And this is why I want people to understand that as much as we're going to adapt in life, we also must prepare. Prepare for things that don't go to plan, okay? But do not worry about it. I'm very big in saying we do not worry about a what if. What if I change my job and I don't have enough money? What if I move there and I don't like it? What if I plan to do something, but on that day it's going to rain? You know, you could talk about what ifs until I'm blue in the face, and I could give you a list as long as my arm. But really, you'd be amazed how many people do not want to do anything because they're worried about a what if. We could also talk about the word I can't. Now, this is a massive word. A massive word that if you use it on a regular basis, how many times looking back at maybe last week, have you thought about, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. If you look back over the year, how many times have you stopped doing something because you've told yourself, I can't? And this is the mad thing about it. There is no one else involved in that conversation in your head. The person that's telling you, I can't, is you. The person that is holding you back is you. And this is where I always say to people, straight up in their face, it doesn't matter if we're standing in a line of 10 people. It doesn't matter if we stand in a line of 100 people. It doesn't matter if we stand in a line and it's just me and you. We are unique. There is no one that should be able to have the power to hold you back. There should be no one that is shouting in your ear, you can't do this or you can't have this. But if the person that's telling you you can't have something or you can't have it or you can't do it, but that person's voice is yours, then you definitely need to change. Do not be the reason that you can't achieve things. Don't let you be the reason. Okay? So scientific terms or anything like that, okay, we are literally stripping it back. Okay? We're going to move forward with some powerful tools. I'm going to give you a little bit of a hit list. Okay? Your hit list is to not worry about a what if. When you are planning something in this week and for the rest of this month. So we have 9 sessions in total. And I'm going to ask you along the journey and at the very last session, how many what ifs have stopped you doing something. And I'm going to do exactly the same with how many times have you told yourself, I can't. We can do it in a week. You can do it. I really want you to do your homework on this. This is you. This is you improving. It will not be easy. And what you'll find is you'll be shaking your head at yourself and going, I can't believe I used a what if. I can't believe I said I can't. Because what we want to do is change that can't to can. I want you to have that mindset shift. I want you to turn around and tell yourself that you can do and be whatever you want to be. If you want to be the best person that you possibly can be for your family, for your business, for your clients, for whatever, you can be. But you need to believe in yourself, and you need to be able to say to yourself that you can, not I can't. Okay? So what we're going to do is, as we've done it, we've gone into some real kind of deep things, but I won't be going any further on this first session. What we're going to do is we're going to stop it right there. The perfect opportunity to stop it on that line, because you have enough homework for session 1 to be able to stand in the present day and actually focus on today. I want you to forget about what you did in the past, and I want you to forget about the future for now. I want you to focus right now. What are you grateful for? What makes you happy today? What actually makes you get up in the morning and go, yes, I'm alive? Get them on a list, because those are going to be your drive, your motivation to move forward. You then have to then sit down and give yourself a reason of what direction are you going to go now? Why are you here? Why are you on this session? What do you want to change? And really look at what you want to change, because it can be, like I said, a can of worms. You could open it up and then realize that actually it's because of that, and then it's because of that, and because of that. Well, keep digging. The more you dig down, and if you find the root of the actual thing, then you can build on it and change it. Like I said, we're stripping it back to take it right back to the foundation, so we can really grow from the foundations up. You also need to tell yourself that you really do want to change and that you're willing to adapt. It isn't going to be easy. You are going to trip. You are going to fail. And this is the reason why we must make sure that we prepare for those days. There's going to be days that you're just not going to feel it. You're not going to feel like it. Well, a quick slap in the face, not literally, but a quick slap in the face just to wake you up and just go, why not? Come on, you've got this. Be your own person. Be your own drive. Do not let that voice in your head hold you back. If there's another voice outside your head holding you back, that's a different story, and we will get rid of that. But the voice in your head has got to be the right voice. We want this one to be pushing us forward, not pulling us back. So on that note, we have a lot of different things that are thrown out there, and I'm going to give you a lot more information as we go on. Okay, but what we're also going to do over the course of these whole sessions is basically get to the point where towards the end, we're going to open it up for a Q&A. I want to answer your questions. I want to get there where I can try to answer to the best of my ability a question that you may have about the session, or a question that you want to know and you just throw it in there. And I've got a couple of questions already. So for now, session 1 of this Grow Your Mindset is over. Lots of deep information there for you lot to start doing your homework on. Okay, and then we will start looking on Friday essentially where we go from there. How do we take the next steps, the next small steps, and go down that new journey, that new path, so we can grow and be better. So what we're going to do now is thank you for both of you for joining. You are quite willing now to take your mics off mute. And I know that Jack's already sent me a question. So Jack, if you want to, you can ask the question that you sent. If not, I can, if you've got a different one, just hit me up and let's do this.
No, yeah. So my question was, when it comes to relating to clientele and creating content, I tend to, when I think about it, I tend to get lost, and I can't seem to relate with like things I think of. I'm like, oh, I can throw this in, that in. It gets too complicated, and then people don't tend to like relate with the content.
Yeah.
And I need to try and figure out how I can set my mindset to think what's important to them and not what's important for me.
Yeah. So when you're talking like business and clientele, people make this error quite a lot. For a start, you're seriously overthinking it. Okay. Now, I say that a lot, and you know that my content I spend a lot of time on, but don't overthink it. When I do my content, I don't actually overthink it. I just write it on a piece of paper what I want my kind of my message to be, and then you build off that. Now, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a message across, but you're not sure how your clientele is going to take it. And then what you need to do is just kind of just relieve that pressure off yourself and just put content. Now, what I mean by just put content is before you just do that, you need to understand your market. So what you need to do is to make sure that you understand who your actual clients are. So what a lot of people will do is at the moment, or what people are doing is they will do content, but it isn't actually related to what they do or to the clientele that they're trying to look for. So what you're doing is essentially you're making great content, but it's not for anything, basically. So strip it back like we've done, like we spoke about earlier, and go back. So, you know, when you do a content, do it, is it for the clientele that you want? If your clientele is, for example, like with me, it's kind of like fat loss and mindset, which means it's only going to be in two areas. It's either going to be something to do with mindset or something to do with fat loss. So that's my content. So I need to make content for those two areas. If I'm making content out of those areas, then it's not going to hit up with my audience as well. So what you need to do is basically break down what your kind of audience and what your clientele's, what you're supplying them, and then what you're going to give them. And then that's a really kind of easy way for you then to go, well, it is just that. And that means I'm just going to, I just do fat loss, for example. I mean, what do you specialize in, Jack?
So it could be stuff like rehab, strength and conditioning, some sport specific, obviously exercises, just sort of like all round when it comes to fitness, really.
Okay.
Not a little bit on fat loss. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm doing a lot more to get better with nutrition.
Okay. Then I'm going to say right there, there's your problem. Because you've just given me basically an all-rounder. But you're not an all-rounder, Jack. You're a specialist. A specialist at what? And this is what you need to find. What do you want to specialize in? See, I know, and I know that you do specialize in things. So don't be an all-rounder. Don't be just some, like, you know, if you really want to succeed, if you really want to stand out from the crowd, you need to specialize in something. You can't be an all-rounder. There has never been anyone who succeeded in life who's an all-rounder at everything. You can't be, you know, mind the pun, jack of all trades. You need to specialize in something. So give yourself three things out of that list that you've given me. And on Friday, come back and tell me again what you specialize in. Find your niche. Be that person that you can look up to and go, actually, I want to specialize in this, this, and this. Yes, I do general. So I can help people with everything. but I actually specialize in this. Then that way, when you are constantly learning new things, you're going to learn on your 3 things that you are specializing in. So you're constantly becoming better in those 3 things. So you can go away and do some more homework with that, Jack. Go away, find those 3 things that you're going to specialize in. Now, the reason I say 3 things is because, yes, you could be a general personal trainer, but if you specialize in 3 different areas, you can use those 3 different areas for your advantage, which means then that way you can use your posts to essentially help that. You can then go, right, well, there's 3 things that I specialize in, and that is what my posts are going to be. 1, 2, or 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a lot clearer.
Yeah. So when you do, then on Friday, come back with me, and then when I ask you the question, and if I don't ask you the question, you're going to tell me, right? And I'll say to Jack, right, Jack, you got any questions? You can ask me a new question and be free, and make sure you tell me what you specialize in. Say, I'm Jack, and I specialize in this, this, and this. So when you meet new people, when you talk to new people, they are there and you are powerful. You believe in yourself. You stand there and go, because imagine me and you met and I say, Jack, right, what do you do? And you turn around and go, well, I do bits of everything. But then we meet and you turn around and go, I'm Jack and I specialize in this, this, and this. It's powerful, right?
Yeah, that's a lot different.
And that's what you need to be. You need to be that person that turns around and that person who's asked you that question stops and goes, oof. Rehab. You know me, I've dealt with rehab many times. And I don't specialize in it, but I go to people that specialize in it because when I need it, I need to know someone who knows what they're talking about. So rehab is a really good, powerful thing. But I also know that rehab, there's tons for you to improve in. And all of a sudden now, you're Jack who improves in these 3 areas. And also, not only are you building better content, you've also got a really good direction of where you want to go and what you're going to learn next. Because as us people here, we must never stop learning. That's actually one of the lessons going further, but just to give you the heads up. Then that way, you're not learning about general things. You're not just searching the internet for just general fitness. You're focusing on those 3 areas that you specialize in. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's you can hear it, especially like in your voice. It's so much clearer, so much more like demanding. Catches me as like a person when you say the difference between just being like just general and really specific.
Yeah, I've 2020 and 2021 has opened up so many people online, as you know. There's so many online trainers out there now, like millions. And the thing is, there was loads of online trainers before, but people didn't really know that online training existed. I was one of them. I've been doing online training for years. But when 2020 COVID hit, everyone became an online trainer. But an online trainer of what? It's like you now have to stand out more than ever because now you haven't got the opportunity to meet people face to face. You haven't got the opportunity to meet people in the street. And if you do, they're 2 meters away. They don't really want to get too close. So you've got a very short window of grabbing that person's attention. You want people to be able to go when they turn around and go, right, I'm looking for someone who specializes in this, this, and this. Jack, he's your man. He specializes in those. Because no one gets recommended for general fitness. It's either fat loss, muscle growth. I don't have to give you the list, but you know what I'm talking about. So specialize in what you do, get your name out there for doing that. And in the meantime, make sure that you're consistently learning so you are actually not only specializing in those areas, but you're getting better and better and better. With that, your content then improves. Your audience are knowing then they're going to get from Jack those 3 pillars. And that's what you want. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds like really good and really clear on what I need to do.
Good. So you've got some more homework, as much as what we talked about in the session as well. You've also got other homework to bring forward come Friday.
Perfect.
Have you got any other questions?
At the minute, that's good.
Sweet. Elena, have you got any questions?
Hi. No,
Hi.
I don't have any questions now. I
Good.
have to talk with myself because I have to ask myself something, and after that maybe I will ask you.
Good. Well, make
First
sure
Mhm.
Good. Well, make sure you bring those questions on Friday if you got them. And if you can't,
Friday I'm not here because I have school from 10 to 5 o'clock.
no problem. Then make sure you send me those questions and I'll answer them.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Okay.
The other question I did have was from Gareth. It's about self-belief. Find it hard to basically believe in himself, just going out alone and stuff like that. Now, self-belief is a big thing. These sessions are actually one of these things that we're going to help basically build on. Believing in yourself is something that I push. For anyone who knows me, knows it's something I push. When you believe in yourself, I use the word proud. Now, you don't have to be a superstar to be proud of yourself. You don't have to be a CEO of a company to be proud of yourself. You need to be proud of yourself, irrelevant of what you have and you don't have. To really believe in yourself, you need to be proud and stand up. Okay? Now, when I say that, is that there is opportunities that pass us by every single day. Okay? If you are not proud and you do not believe in yourself, you are going to be looking at the floor. Your natural posture is going to round your shoulders forward and you're going to be looking down. Now, if I'm looking down here, I'm missing you guys. I'm missing the opportunities for eye contact to speak to you. And this is where, if I'm walking around in the world, my head down, my shoulders forward, because I don't believe in myself, I'm not proud of myself, opportunities are just going by every single day. And this is why what we need to do is stand tall, be proud of who you are. And it's irrelevant. And this is where a lot of people say to me that, I've got nothing to be proud of. We are all unique. We are all different. If that does not give you a reason to be proud, then I don't know what is. To be able to stand here and go, I am proud because I am Bruno and no one else in this world is me unless there's a twin somewhere. But that's enough for me to go by who I am. So being unique, irrelevant of your strengths, we haven't even found your strengths yet. Just that alone should be enough to start to build up that belief. Now, don't get me wrong. We're not suddenly just going to look in the mirror and just believe in ourselves. That takes time. But I've always said to people, and this sounds a bit weird, but it works. You just need to lie to yourself. If you do not believe in yourself, lie. Tell yourself you believe yourself. You believe in yourself and keep telling yourself because eventually you are going to believe it. The more you hit it in your head that you deserve to be good, good, you deserve to be positive things to happen, opportunities will happen. But for you to do that, you need to be proud and you need to believe in yourself. So this is what we're going to be honest, that is another session, the belief bit. But I do want to make sure, because Gareth sent me that question, so I do want to say it. So Gareth, I know that you're going to be watching this. So we are going to be talking more about self-belief, but it's all to do with inner strength. But being proud of who you are is one of those massive things that will help. So put a smile on your face and be proud, because even just doing that can make a negative day a positive one. Just being proud and believing that things happen for a reason. So even though you may not be happy with what you've got, things will change. But for things to change, you just need to believe in yourself. And I always say self-belief can also be a thing in your head where you're worrying about what people think, worrying about what people look at you and what they're going to say. Who cares? Who cares? We do not care if anyone has negative things to say about us. Okay? We want to make sure that this in our head is telling us that we're good, we're positive, that we're proud. If you feel like that you got up in the morning and what you're wearing you don't like, then put something on that you like. If you're female, put some makeup on. Well, if you're male, you may want to put some makeup on. I don't know. You know, make an effort. You know, make yourself. There's so many people right now that are sitting at home because they're not allowed to leave the house and they're just wearing, you know, trust me, I do it for weeks where I'm just living in my gym gear and whatever like that. But sometimes you just got to dress up. So make an effort. Be proud. Look yourself in the mirror and go, I look good. And even if you don't feel like you actually look good, just tell yourself, make an effort. And sometimes just making an effort, getting changed, you know, putting on your best gear and just going for a walk will make you feel a million times better. So with that, we'll talk about that more, Gareth, about self-belief and how we move forward. But for you, mate, you just need to be proud of who you are, be strong, and just get it done. You'll be fine. So we don't have any more questions. And that is it. That is session 1 of my Grow Your Mindset over. I appreciate you two for joining me. I appreciate everyone who can be watching this, and make sure that you keep forwarding those questions to me. I will make sure that I'll be answering every single session afterwards in the little Q&A section that we do. And on Friday, 10 o'clock UK time, we're going to be doing this all again and taking it to the next step. So thank you so much. I appreciate you lot. I want you to appreciate who you are, be proud of who you are, believe, and have an awesome day. But also remember, it's the 1st of March and it's a great opportunity to make some changes. Thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care of you too. Bye.